So Egret Ranch is about a young man. He's 19. His name is Ty, and he has some tragic life circumstances. He wants to go to college, but he doesn't have the money. And he takes a job at a place where he thinks he's going to be like a glorified camp counselor. It's a facility for emotionally disturbed kids, and he thinks it's going to be fun and s'mores and rah rah rah, and there's going to be sheep and bucolic surroundings, and everything's going to be hunky dory. Well, he finds out the facility is a treatment facility for emotionally disturbed kids. And what he soon realizes that these aren't just kids who have psychiatric problems, but specifically many of the kids, if not most of them, have been severely abused by their parent or guardian. One of the kids is actually found digging in a Safeway aisle for food and dressed in tatters. One of the kids has been sexually abused by his mentally retarded father. So there are some really gruesome stories as part of working at this facility, Egret Ranch. And the story is really about the adventure he has. How does he deal with this environment that's very different from the regular family he grew up in? And how does the staff problems affect him? And so the book is actually set in the 1970s in Mendocino County. And one of the things I talk about or think about is how different it was then as compared to now. So in the 1970s, rural Northern California, everybody's in the hot tub. All body types, all ages, all colors, creeds, religions, they're all in the hot tub nude, right? And today we have a lot of different, moral values. We think that that's bad and that sort of thing. And so one of the permeating aspects of the book is this period of sexual confusion that the 19-year-old narrator is dealing with. The confusion of some of the adolescents that he's working with, who are going from being young kids to teens, and sometimes teens raging with hormones. And how does he deal with the staff, who are many of the staff are actually broken people themselves? So a lot of the ranch is not necessarily just about the kids, but the staff that works in this psychiatric facility. So it basically gives a little capsule of a small institution at a select point in time, but it deals with these issues that have become, or we now know are universal, and that's child molesting and child sexual abuse. And that gets into my next point that I want to talk about is recently I saw the movie Spotlight, which is terrific, and I read the book that it's based on, which is called Betrayal in the Catholic Church. And both involved similar situations and stories to what were found in the ranch, and that is kids that have been sexually abused or molested by their parent or guardian, or sometimes other individuals. And I really try to go into what this means a little bit for the individuals. It's very difficult and frightening for them, but also around the people around them as well. So there were very many interesting characters between the staff and the kids that lived there. The real ranch director was actually a very nice woman, but in the book I used a psychologist. In my own life I work in holistic health and herbal medicine, and I came across a psychiatrist, who believed that the cure for all psychiatric illnesses was niacin. That's the B vitamin, niacin. And he didn't believe in psychiatric medicine. So I gave that individual the job of ranch director. And we can see in the novel when niacin works just fine for psychiatric problems and when it absolutely doesn't work. So one of the things I learned by working in a facility like Egret Ranch is when people really need psychiatric medicines and when it's best to try to avoid psychiatric medicines. The last reason that I wrote the book was during the time I worked there, one of the staff was arrested for actually molesting kids. And this was one of the worst things that could have happened, because, how could a molester be molesting the people that have already been molested by their parents or guardians? Well, I came to see that oftentimes child molesters hide it within plain sight. So what better place to hide than a facility to help treat kids that are molesters than being a child molester? So I learned about what some of the warning signs are for helping to protect your kids, and there's some resources at the end of the interview on information you can use to protect your own kids. So I want to end with the idea of checking out the book. I think it's a very quick read. It tried to make it as adventurous as possible, as much action as possible, and really how one guy goes from just looking for a job to finding himself into a dark and mysterious environment that he really on the outside doesn't understand, and comes to learn more about it as he works there on the inside.